This is a conflict for the control of the beast, number 141C, underlined 4. The conflict that has emerged for control of the beast system in the last days is examined. Introduction. Recently we issued 3 important papers concerning the last days. These were the papers Law and the Calendar into the Millennium, number 156G, 400 Years of Abraham's Legacy, number 212J, and the Great Tribulation, number 141D, underlined 2. The Great Tribulation was also released in video on Rumble. These papers cover the next 4 years and the procedures to the return of the Messiah and the establishment of the Millennium. This text is a necessary step in the outline of the struggle for the control of the beast power, and what we are seeing is the shadows of a struggle for control of the New World Order. What the world is seeing is a struggle for control portrayed as a black hat, white hat struggle between what are the 2 competing forces of the Western Alliance. These are the financial divisions of the central banking systems under the Rothschilds and the World Economic Forum based on Davos with its UN-centred WHO, and the climate change scammers on the one hand in the EU and the US, and the military-industrial complex, the MIC, based in the US, and the ferocious power struggles between the deep state and the military forces are determined to stop the insanity of the genocidal or perhaps democidal attacks being inflicted on the world through the WEF and the WHO. The third factor is an Eastern alliance between Russia and China, with associated blocs in the Middle East and in Asia. These are waiting on the forces of the MIC under Trump to stop the insanity of the WEF and Davos. All of these systems are agreed that democracy as the world understands it is finished, and has been since 1997, as explained in number 141D, underlined 2 above. The New World Order under the World Economic Forum has been progressing towards genocide, democide through the vax programs using pharmakeia under the WHO plans for the elimination of some 2 billion people. 20 million are already dead and untold millions are dying. This system is portrayed as the black hat system that also includes the US deep state, including the CIA, FBI and DOJ systems. This insane system sought to destroy a massive number of people all around the world. See also number 141C. The forces of the military and the military-industrial complex, the MIC, in the US saw that its genocidal program would destroy their military supremacy and the MIC in total, and so began to subvert the vax program, but not early enough. However, they began to document it all, and that has been done in the entire Western alliances. As a result, all the politicians and bureaucrats have been documented as traitors and identified as people to be taken and executed under the military tribunals. Reportedly, that began in 2017 with key political figures. The rule of civil law reportedly has effectively been suspended. The problem is that the entire parliamentary system of the US and British Commonwealth and the EU has been undermined by WEF traitors in all parties and at all levels. Even the monarch is not immune from sudden illness and removal. They are now identified and will be targeted for elimination by whatever means are convenient, as will medical officers in the bureaucracies. We are now being told that the suspension of the rule of law and the seizure of these criminals from their homes and the streets will be a blessing for all the trusting souls that simply have to rely on these white hats who will act in our favour and simply push on into the future with our welfare in mind. It's also reassuring if we do not have God telling us what they're actually going to do in Revelation. See F066, parts 2, 3 and 4. Revelation 9:13-19 shows that these forces of the sixth trumpet are under the 4 angels that were released from the pit at the Euphrates. These were held in the pit until it was time to release them in order to kill a third of mankind. This war will not be prevented by interest groups on either or any side. These demons control the forces that will conduct these wars and kill over half mankind in the coming few years. Looking at the conflict rationally, we might assume that the Black Hats will not simply sit idly by and allow themselves to be arrested and eliminated, nor will they simply sit and allow the opposing White Hats to seize political control. The simple process they might adopt will be to force the nuclear exchanges and cease all electoral charades everywhere. This may then force civil wars in various locales. The main aim will be to stop the US election sequence and stop Trump from having any legitimacy. The simplest way is to initiate random nuclear exchanges in NATO countries. Russia will probably retaliate. Remember, the demons wish to initiate this all-out war and eliminate mankind by the time Satan's time is complete, and they have to have accomplished their aim before the Messiah is here with a host to take over and they go to the pit. The trigger to stop Trump in the US, the political struggles for control in the US are vicious. They're trying to set up trick legislative systems to trap Trump should he take office. You see that in the following URL, and it's dealing with the Ukraine aid programs and the limitations on his capacity to terminate or deal with them. You see also the following URL regarding a kill switch for Trump's second term. Iraq is also a trigger, and so also do we see further triggers to interfere with controls of the New World Order systems in the EU and the US systems. Another trigger for the Middle East that will create problems for the beast. You see also the world's Gaia by Alistair Cook, the UNZ review. Q is a criminal cartel, so also the Black Hats have created the WHO as a criminal cartel, and that will result in massive reactions around the world. You see the following URL. And then we go on to murder in the UK over COVID. You see those two URLs dealing with tens of thousands of elderly secretly euthanized in order to boost COVID death statistics. And you see also the URL on the crime of the century, the Midazolam murders, and that deals with the fact that the elderly were murdered by injections of the end-of-life drug Midazolam, and these deaths were then falsely blamed on COVID, which was the basis of the plan. The struggle for control of the beast is so critical that the Black Hats of the New World Order, who plan to kill some 90% of the world's population, will see no loss in simply pushing ahead with the initiation of World War III and the planned losses that will entail. The executions that will follow on in the US and elsewhere is simply collateral damage. As we see in vast areas now, the people are getting angrier as they are more informed. This will also increase exponentially as the witnesses arrive and begin to educate the world. You see also that covered in numbers 135, 141D and 141D underlined 2. The casual way in which our people are being murdered by the medical bureaucrats is simply astounding. We will seek to execute them over the next few years.